Right now, a woman falls through the ice on Lake Monona, all caught on camera. We'll have the very latest on her condition.
Plus, could fluoride be out of the way on the drinking water in DeForest? The village board meets tonight to make a decision.
And later, President Trump withdraws the U.S. from the Paris Climate Accords, the impacts it could have on the country and Wisconsin moving forward. We welcome you to News 3 now at 6. Good evening. Thanks for being with us. I'm Eric Franke.
And I'm Sarah Carlson.
A woman is recovering after falling through the ice on Lake Monona. It happened this morning.
The scary incident you see and dramatic rescue were all caught on camera. Arman Rahman talked with first responders about exactly what happened.
When the Madison Fire Department got the call of someone falling through the ice on Lake Monona Tuesday morning, they came ready with their lake and rescue team with their exposure chute and dive suit to go into the water. However, they found out they didn't have to.
Someone has decided to just walk right up.
Imagine looking out your window early on the coldest morning of the season to see this on Lake Monona.
Lauren is out there trying to talk to them.
This viewer and their wife were watching it all happen. They asked to remain anonymous. The two called 911. Suddenly, the woman drops into the frigid water beneath.
It is so cold outside. I'm so concerned about hypothermia.
Lieutenant Matt Myalik, who is part of Madison Fire's lake rescue team, says they geared up and ran out, but discovered police already made it out on the ice with the neighbor's paddleboard. The lieutenant says this happened near MG&E's warm water discharge.
I think the DNR puts like cones and stuff like that out, like telling people to stay away. And that's not a suggestion.
He says even though it's freezing cold, this ice can be unpredictable after going through an early cold snap, then melting, then freezing again now.
Ice and then water on top of that ice and then more ice. So you could potentially fall through the ice, new ice, and land on brittle old ice.
If you do decide to venture out, you should try to prepare with some type of flotation and your phone in a dry bag. If you fall in, bring ice picks to try and pull yourself out.
Like crawling on your stomach and rolling off to better ice instead of trying to stand up where your weight is more concentrated.
But Myalik says it's best to just stay on shore.
There is no such thing as safe ice on the lakes here in Madison.
Thank God. Thank God.
The woman who fell through the ice was not injured. However, there were some concerns about cold exposure. Reporting in downtown Madison, Arman Rahman, News 3 Now.
And these bitterly cold conditions continue. Let's check the first warn forecast with Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington.
Yeah, Sarah, southern Wisconsin, we still have cold weather advisories. And in fact, for much of southern Wisconsin, areas north and west of Madison have been dropped from the cold weather advisory as winds are starting to lighten up just a little bit and temperatures are going to warm up overnight. But Madison and points to the east, you can still expect another bitterly cold night in terms of wind chills. We all will still see cold temperatures tonight, but that cold weather advisory will be allowed to expire right around the midnight hour. But we're still expecting those wind chills, as I mentioned, cold through Wednesday morning as folks get back out to work and school. It's going to likely be a slow start as we slowly climb out of these conditions. Minus 14, that's what it feels like right now in Madison. Minus 17 in Janesville, minus 15 to the west in Viroqua. So by no means are we out of the Arctic grip at this point in time. Right now, the current temperature 0, 4 to the west in Prairie, minus 3 to the east over towards Watertown. So actual air temperatures are still also bitterly cold with 0 to 1 across Dane County. It's going to be a cold night until we get into tomorrow, where we have a warm up on the way, but it's going to be a slow climb to get there and still dangerously cold on our way there as we track through the rest of our evening at 10 o'clock when you join us. Still wind chills to near 20 below 0. And then we got a little light snow as that warmer air moves in that could affect the rush hour tomorrow, dusting to an inch. We track that coming up in Maine weather.
All right, Alex, thank you. The city of Madison also says it'll delay trash and recycling pickup for some people because of this extreme cold. Now, if today is trash and recycling pickup day for you, put out your bins even if they don't get collected. And in that case, the city will get them the next day. Remember, if Mondays are when your trash is typically picked up, this also applies to you due to the pickup being delayed for the MLK holiday. For those outside of Madison, check your local municipality for the very latest updates. Meanwhile, warming centers in Middleton are open this week, and here's a list of some of those locations. The police department lobby is the only place that's open 24 hours a day. City Hall, the library, and the fire department will open up today. That information also available on our website, channel3000.com.
And be sure to stay up to date on the weather on our First Warn Forecast weather app. It has hourly forecasts, road conditions, and the latest radar. You can download it for free in the App Store. Just search WISC. WISC weather.
Now to an update on a Sun Prairie homicide. The Dane County DA charging a man with the killing of Isamar Valverde Ponce. 23-year-old Gerson Blas No is charged with first-degree intentional homicide, giving false information about a missing or kidnapped person and hiding a corpse. Ponce hadn't been seen since January 11th. Her family reported her missing a day later. Police found Ponce's body on the 14th. Blas No's bond is set at $800,000. He's currently being held at the Dane County Jail and is expected back in court on January 29th.
A Milwaukee man is dead after a possible case of hypothermia out there. Home surveillance video shows the 80-year-old man walking outside at 2 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday. On a different camera, he's seen lying on the ground, struggling to move. Investigators say no one called for help for the man until about 7 o'clock in the morning. The medical examiner's office says this cause of death is probable hypothermia. The wind chills at that point were between -5 and -15 degrees.
Madison police are investigating after 2 vehicles are damaged in a shooting on the east side. Officers were called to Worthington Avenue about 7:15 last night for reports of gunshots. 10 shell casings were found in the area. No one was inside those 2 vehicles at the time. No injuries reported. Anyone with information, though, is asked to call Madison Area Crime Stoppers.
Happening now, the DeForest Village Board is debating a proposal to remove fluoride from the drinking water. Now, we're going to try to take a live look at the meeting. The Public Services Committee voted 5-2 last month in favor of removing it. Some board members argue that keeping fluoride in the water is not safe. They cite a Washington Post opinion piece as well as a ruling by a California judge against the FDA. However, the CDC says the mineral has been shown to reduce tooth decay. Fluoride has been in drinking water across the country for over 75 years. Now, coming up tonight at 10, News 3 Now's Maddie Heimch will have an update on what that board decides to do. Now, among the slew of executive actions President Trump signed Monday is one that may impact our climate.
Our Jalen Banks has more on how this may impact our state.
President Trump signed an executive action Monday withdrawing the U.S. from the Paris Climate Agreement, claiming it would save the U.S. $1 trillion by leaving. I caught up with one expert on the potential impacts this may have. The Paris Climate Agreement is an agreement between countries to reduce their greenhouse gas emissions with the goal of avoiding human interference in climate change. Speaking with UW-Madison climate expert Jack Williams, he shares with me he has taught climate change courses for over a decade and says he has seen a major shift in how climate change is viewed.
Public opinion and awareness has really shifted on this. And so there is this interesting disconnect between public awareness, which people are mostly now convinced that climate change is happening. They're seeing the impact in their lives. They're seeing their insurance bills go up, versus the political leadership and sometimes the disinformation campaigns that go on around this.
Williams attributes recent major weather events across the country to climate change.
Rainfall intensity in these extreme events of droughts and floods has been linked to climate change. So cold outbreaks like this one we're in the middle of, not so much, but warm events, heat waves and weather extremes like hurricanes and floods, those have been linked to human-caused climate change.
And he fears that by the U.S. pulling out of the agreement and there being less of an effort to combat climate change, this could impact Wisconsin.
We're all affected by each other's actions. And so here in Wisconsin, we have been fortunate to date that we have not had the devastating fires of, say, California. They're affected too. We're seeing warmer winters, warmer summers. We're seeing an increasing frequency of big rain events with more than an inch in a day. Those bigger rain events are intensifying in the state.
Jalen Banks reporting there. President Trump signed roughly 200 executive actions, memoranda, and proclamations on his first day in office. And President Trump made good on a promise to save TikTok for a few weeks, recently signing an executive order delaying enforcement of the ban for 75 days. Now, that comes after former President Biden had signed a law in April that required TikTok to be sold to a company in America or one of its allies. Technically speaking, the law is still in effect. The executive order simply delays enforcement of it.
Now, one of President Trump's executive orders would end birthright citizenship for children of undocumented immigrants. Wisconsin, along with 23 other states and cities, are filing a lawsuit in response. Governor Tony Evers and Attorney General Josh Kaul announced their role in that lawsuit today. It alleges the order violates the 14th Amendment, which gives all children born in the U.S. the right to citizenship.
The president is acting contrary to his responsibility. He's got a duty to execute the laws that are in place, not to contravene them. And that's what's happened here.
The president has not said anything about this lawsuit yet.
Still ahead on News 3 Now at 6, the Madison Arts Commission looking for new works of art.
Plus, the Dane County Regional Airport includes a four-legged staff member now. Meet the new K-9 boosting security after the break.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, there's a new kind of employee at the Dane County Regional Airport. After more than a year of training, K-9 Dorji is on board. He's certified in explosive odor detection and trained to find firearms and empty shell casings. The airport is also highlighting its therapy dog team, which has become so popular, the airport even made trading cards for them. There are now new cards featuring photos and even facts about the dog's different breeds and personalities. Look at this sweet one. The team has 17 dogs so far, and the airport is looking for more.
Whether you have 5 minutes a day or 5 hours a month, whatever it might be, you're part of the program. We encourage you to come out as often as you want.
That is too sweet. All of these therapy dogs are certified, and every handler is also required to complete the airport security badging process. If you're interested in volunteering, you can contact the Director of Marketing and Communications. That's available on the airport's website under Pet Therapy.
I love the Great Dane. He was just sleeping through that whole thing. Madison Arts Commission asking artists to submit original pieces for the upcoming City of Madison project. Selected artwork will be considered for public art opportunities in various city divisions and departments. Artists are encouraged to apply with images of 2- or 3-dimensional digital or time-based works. 10 artworks can be submitted each year. Applications submitted by February 14th will be considered during the first round of existing art database reviews at the Madison Arts Commission meeting set for February 19th. For a list of upcoming projects, look for the story we have linked at channel3000.com. And still ahead, the Red Cross gives us an update on blood donations collected so far this year.
Plus, parts of the South are declaring emergencies as they deal with a rare snowstorm moving through the area.
And warmer temps are on the way. I mean, how could it get any colder, right? There's some snow coming as well. And Alex will have the complete forecast when we come back.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6.
Welcome back. A massive winter storm is dumping snow and ice along parts of the Gulf Coast.
In Houston, Texas, people woke up to a fresh blanket of snow on the ground, with one person capturing video of snow on a beach in Galveston. The rare system even brought snow to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, covering a tiger. Look at that in the zoo.
That's the LSU tiger.
Is it? Oh, wow. Cool. Well, I mean, I don't know what the tiger feels.
Baton Rouge.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis issued a state of emergency ahead of the storm.
Expect hazardous conditions. These conditions we're not used to in Florida. There's going to be a lot of people that have never been in conditions like this on the road. If you're out there now thinking like you can just power through it, I mean, there will be accidents, and we don't want that to happen.
Be safe out there, too. The cold snap also impacted travelers, with both airports in Houston suspending operations. Several school districts in several states have also canceled classes.
Meanwhile, we could get a little snow here tomorrow. Alex rejoins us. A complete look at the forecast.
A little bit of snow on the way. Not big snows like you were just talking about, Sarah and Eric. This is just a sneak peek here at what we've had over the course of the past 24 hours using our Snow Vision product. Again, we were talking about Houston, 2 inches, 10 inches in Lafayette, Louisiana, maybe even more just south of New Orleans, 8 inches to the north of New Orleans, 7 inches over the southern part of Alabama, south of Atlanta too, and then that snow's going up the East Coast. That just goes to show you how deep and how far south this cold that we're experiencing has gotten, where we still have cold weather advisories through at least midnight for wind chill values at times to 20 below zero. We're still holding on to that alert day heading through at least Wednesday morning to get us acclimated out of this deep freeze. There may still be a 2-hour delay or two. Cars may still have some struggles getting going, buses and so forth tomorrow morning with those wind chills at times still in the teens below zero to near 20 below zero. Wind chills out there right now are verifying at that. Minus 16 right now in the Dells, as cold as minus 20 up towards Wautoma, and still nearly 20 below in Janesville. Actual air temperatures, 0. That's all we did today for high temperature in Madison, and temperatures are roughly a few degrees above or a few degrees below 0 right now. We have 1 off to the west of Madison. Areas to the east of Madison, we're still holding on to -1 in Deerfield. And we'll see those temperatures bottom out right around 0. I'm going for a low of -2. So some point between about 10 o'clock and about 1 o'clock in the morning, we'll see that temperature bottom out, and then we start to slowly climb out of the deep freeze tomorrow. As we move out of the cautionary category with those wind chills in the morning, by the time we get into the afternoon, it will be cold, meaning feeling normal for January standards. Temperatures tonight, again, -2 in Madison, although we'll be into the single digits above zero by the time we wake up. And head to work and school as we go into Wednesday with light snow and temperatures getting into the upper 20s in some cases. This is that warm air pushing towards southern Wisconsin. With that warm air, a little bit of light snow across to all of southern Wisconsin. Best chances for that snow, which could impact noon and then going towards the evening commute, will be from Lone Rock over towards Beaver Dam and points to the south, although a few snow showers in the evening. Overall amounts expecting dusting to maybe an inch. It's going to be fighting that dry air, which is going to kind of eat away at some of that snow, as we've seen in these past few snows that have been involved with the bitterly cold. After the Wednesday snow chance, that's really it. Temperatures climbing into the 30s by the time we get into the weekend, and then up near 40 degrees by the time we head towards the upcoming weekend. And just looking further out here, 10 days out, southern Wisconsin, much of the upper Midwest, very low amounts of precipitation. We absolutely could use that because much of the Midwest is experiencing dry to moderate drought conditions. At 10, I'm going to show you just how far off we are with our January snow totals. It's quite a striking graphic that I will show tonight at 10.
All right, Alex, thank you. And fierce winds whipping up Southern California again are expected to calm down yet today, but more threats are on the horizon. In the last 24 hours, firefighters turned their attention to 3 brush fires. Crews have managed 61% containment on these devastating fires. The Palisades fire in particular, a fire weather watch remains in effect tonight through Thursday, and the Los Angeles mayor is looking at a potential flooding of all things.
I'm issuing an executive order to shore up burn areas and stem the flow of toxic debris in the event of rain this weekend.
Now, firefighters also tackled several small blazes near San Diego. Evacuation orders are issued for residents in line of the Lilac fire.
The Red Cross says both the wildfires and severe weather are having an impact on blood donations. According to the organization, more than 10,000 blood and platelet donations have gone uncollected in the first 2 weeks of the year. Despite the challenges they've seen, thousands of people have been giving blood, donating money, and contributing time, not only in Los Angeles, but across the country. The Red Cross is urgently seeking donors of all types, but particularly type O negative blood donors and those giving platelets.
And coming up in sports, history on the ice. What the Badgers had to say about Layla Edwards and Saturday's 4-goal performance. That's next on News 3 Now. Heading into their series against St. Thomas, Layla Edwards hadn't scored a goal in 3 games, which is crazy to think about from the WCHA's leading goal scorer. And then she took the ice against the Tommies. Friday, she ended that streak with a goal, and then on Saturday, not only did she record a hat trick in the first period, but she scored 4 goals on 4 shots, a feat that's never been done before in program history.
I've been harping with her to try to shoot the puck more because she's got a good shot, and if she can hit spots, she can score some goals. All of a sudden the first one goes in, and it adds a little confidence.
It's crazy, like every shot went in. 2 of them were 2-on-1, so I don't know, it was just fun, especially from the bench. Everyone was going crazy, so you don't see that very often.
And speaking of Badger women's hockey, be sure to check out this week's Wisconsin Huddle with Casey O'Brien. Show airs on Friday night at 6:30 right here on News 3 Now. Well, it's another big week for the Wisconsin men's hockey team. Mike Hastings' squad welcomes in 10th-ranked Michigan with a lot on the line in this series. The two enter tied for 4th in the Big Ten standings. So obviously there's pressure to perform, but one way to forget about that is to give back. Last week, the Badgers invited the Wisconsin Timberwolves special hockey team out to practice, and it was a skate where both teams left with a smile.
To have the opportunity to interact and become a positive influence, and then also, as I told the Timberwolves, them be a positive influence on our guys. Our guys had an extra hop in their step.
Brought us back to our childhood and looking up to teams and going out and practicing with them and kind of just why we play the game. and just seeing their smile on their face just makes you realize how special it is.
And it's official, CC Sabathia is headed to Cooperstown. The former Brewer will be enshrined in the Baseball Hall of Fame as a member of the 2025 class. Sabathia wasn't in Milwaukee long, but definitely made his mark, going 11-2 in 17 starts, striking out 128 batters in 130 2/3 innings. 2008. That was
Seems
a
like
fun
yesterday.
time.
It was.
That was a
It was
fun
a good
time.
team. I wonder if he could still pitch.
They need him.
He's not that old. They could use him. Let's go to Alex. Final check of the forecast.
Hopefully we can get all of this cold weather out of here by tomorrow. That's the way the forecast is looking right now. Still a cold weather advisory till midnight for Dells, Lone Rock down to Platteville and areas to the east. That includes Madison and Janesville. But we all will still be very cold tonight. Wind chills still could get as cold as -15, maybe an isolated -25 spot as we go into Wednesday morning as folks get acclimated and get back out into the swing of things. But we have a little bit of light snow that's possible on Wednesday as well. We'll track more of that snow tonight at 10.
Look at those temperatures. They look warm.
Up to the 40s.
We're
soon.
excited.
Balmy.
Alex, thanks. Thanks for joining us for News 3 Now at 6.
We'll see you back here at 10 o'clock.